So, a couple days ago, I saw the pilot for a show called Lake Effect, which is this uh, film thesis video I saw on YouTube, and I thought it was pretty good. Though, a main issue I have with it is the pacing, because it feels like they shoved an entire season worth of content within a 14-minute video. So, for this video, I'm gonna say what I think. Like, if the show actually does get greenlit, this is how I think the first episode should go. Now, the film starts with a goat running away from some kind of monster, and the kid finds it and takes it to a vet. I think, how they did that was good, and it should definitely stay like that, as it adds a bit of an air of mystery to it. But in the pilot, the goat talks to them almost immediately. I think that Bale, that's the name of the goat, should pretend to be a normal goat, even though he's obviously not a normal goat. And then the vet mentions about how a bunch of animals have been getting sick with a bunch of puking out some green substance. And I can imagine in the background the goat looking all sad and depressed after hearing that, though, because he knows that it's his fault for that happening. So they're walking through the woods, hanging out a bit, trying to talking to themselves to figure out like how to fix this issue, until they see the goat wandering right off the trail. Then they chase after it, though, and see that it went to the witch's house. This would basically be it trying to help solve the problem that he unintentionally caused, because the witch is the one with all the answers to their problems. And then, they're all like, wait, we were walking through here all the time and we never noticed this until now. Like, they're like, who are you? And, all that stuff. They start talking, and then they mention the illness going on with all the animals. And then they decide to, ask them how exactly are they supposed to fix this. And then she tells them about the Willow, which is this monster that's been making all the animals sick. Of course, they're not believing this at first. They're all like, wait, you're saying some demon is causing all this? And, imagine that they're thinking that it's a little absurd that a monster is what's making all the animals sick and stuff like that. Of course, the witch is insisting that all of that is actually true, and the only way to stop it, and blah, blah, blah. And also mentioning to them that it's actually an interdimensional hitman. It'll stop once it acquires its target. And so, without any other idea about how to fix this, they decide to kind of go along with this until they end up encountering this monster and getting a very rude awakening. Now, after they encounter the witch and all that stuff, they're like talking about how absurd the whole thing is, and then they actually encounter the Willow itself at some point. And of course, they're freaking out like, oh, fuck, this thing is real. And then it tries to talk to them. But they don't understand a word it's saying and try to run away. I feel like that this could also be a page from The Thing. Spoilers for The Thing if you haven't seen it, but they actually spoil the big plot twist at the very beginning of the movie when that guy is shooting at all the other scientists. You see, apparently, the guy with the gun was trying to tell all the researchers at that station that dog wasn't a real dog. It's a monster. It's a thing. It's a thing. Like, he's trying to tell them that, but he can't speak English. He can only speak in Norwegian. And so they end up killing the guy. I feel like that if they do make the Willow talk, he can speak, but in some kind of demonic language that the humans cannot understand. Like, he tells them, surrender the goat and I will spare you, or something like that. Because the goat is what he's after. He gets the goat, everything goes back to normal. But of course, they don't know that. But they do eventually figure out that it was the goat that it's after for some reason. And so, compelled to protect him, they decide to go with the witch's plan and set up a trap and successfully capture the Willow and lock it away somewhere. And then I'd imagine that Bale and Oliver, that's the name of the two characters, the Bale's the goat and Oliver's the kid, afterwards they go to sleep, and then Oliver tells Bale good night, and then Bale, for the very first time throughout this entire episode, speaks to Oliver and says, "Good night, Oliver." And then he immediately gets right up and stares straight at Bale, and he's all like, "Oh, wait, I mean, huh? Did that work?" And then he'd immediately shake his head, like, mm-mm. And then Bale would immediately spawn with, shit. Like, I feel like that if it does get greenlit, that's how the first episode should go. And all of the episodes that come afterwards is them dealing with one supernatural threat after another as more monsters keep trying to capture the goat. And of course, after they find out that the goat can talk, they immediately ask, "Okay, so why is that thing after you?" And he only gives up like little bits of the truth, and that he's, of course, a supernatural entity that did something, but doesn't really specify what. And as time goes on, they start hinting at Bale's true identity until the very last episode of the first season, where his full identity is revealed as the Prince of Hell, the literal son of the devil. And that he ran away because he didn't want to be in the family business of torturing people and just wants to live his own life. And this bit would hit Oliver emotionally hard because he too would have some kind of shady background where he didn't have any choice in his own life as well. Like, that's kind of like how I feel that this show should go if it does get greenlit. I definitely see a lot of potential with this as a kind of Gravity Falls / dead end kind of thing. Like, it kind of gives that kind of vibe to me. And I hope that it does get greenlit and go into that kind of a direction. Let me know what you think.